It is November 16th, 2023, and we're in Lindsborg, Kansas, and this is Will Vargas.
Yeah.
Good morning.
And in this late in my life, it's a little bit hard to remember a lot of things.
Well, we'll just go with whatever you can. Now, you recently turned 100?
Yeah, it was November the 6th. Yeah.
November 6th.
Yeah.
That's a pretty awesome date.
Yeah. By God, I'm starting over again. Yeah.
Starting over again. Well, Will, can you tell me a little bit about, do you remember where were you born?
Right up here in Salina, Kansas. Right on Front and North Street, right in the corner.
Okay.
The little white house.
And your birthday is 11/6.
I think there was 8 of us in the family. I was about the 7th.
Number 7.
Yeah.
Okay. You have brothers and sisters?
What?
You had brothers and sisters?
Oh, yeah. I had, let's see, two brothers, yeah, and 3 sisters, yeah.
Okay.
I
Great.
had another one, but she died. Yeah.
Oh, well.
I never knew her.
So what did your parents do?
My dad was, he was born in Spain, but he came over when he was still a young fella, teenager. And he landed in Mexico, in Guanajuato, I think it was, Mexico. And when he was growing up, he was still a teenager, and the revolution came on. And his parents kicked him out of, told him to flee, go up north, go into the United States. So him and Uncle came across the border. And he ended up in Salina, Kansas, and he went to work for, no, he ended up in North Dakota. Him and Mom. And he went to work for the railroad up there. And she went to work in the fields, you know, with beets and stuff like that. Planting.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Salina?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where all my siblings were born. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you attend school there? Did you graduate high school?
You know what?
Attend school in Salina?
Let's see, when we first, let's see, there's where the long story comes in. We were still pretty young. Dad got killed in 1933,
Oh,
New Year's Day, when old Hoover was elected president, and we lived right on Front and North Street. And the house was still there until about 5 years ago. And it's all clear now. But I think it was about 5 when he was out on New Year's Day Eve or something like that. He was drinking with the boys, and he carried a half a pint in his pocket. And they were gathered around in the neighborhood there, and he reached to get a drink to give a guy, and the guy thought he was going for a weapon. He pulls out a gun and shoots him.
Oh, my word.
So Dad walks on home, comes to the door. Mom opens the door, and he falls on the floor, and he calls for me. It was him and one of my sisters used to sleep with him, you know. And he died there at the front door.
Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And he made it rough, you know, after that. We couldn't stay there. We had to do something. Mom, you know, worried about it, so she left us. We had an uncle in Kansas City, and she left the two youngest boys and the youngest girl with her uncle there. And the rest, Mom and the oldest boy and two of the oldest girls went to work in Nebraska in the cornfields and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Eventually, following year, we joined them.
Good.
And we spent, I think it was that next summer of 1934, I think, there in Nebraska. And then we moved to Colorado. Boy, that night that we moved, open truck.
Oh.
we sat on the back, yeah. And he was cold that night.
Talk about breezy.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Benny?
Go ahead. I'm his nephew.
That's
okay.
my nephew, Benny.
Hi, Benny.
Yeah, we rode on an open stake truck all the way from Nebraska on that highway, clear over to the corner of where Nebraska and Colorado. I forget the name of the little town. I thought I'd never forget it. It might come to my mind.
Okay.
But it was right on the corner on the highway. We lived there in I think it was kind of a church because it had a slanting floor with boards coming across it where people could sit down or something like that, you know. We stayed there for, I guess, 3 or 4 months, and then we moved over by that river. It was in northern Colorado. I forget the name of the little town. We stayed there in a boxcar for about a year. Well, youngest sister went to school, and we just farted around. We had 3 boys. We were too young to go to school.
Had fun.
Yeah. Hi.
Try not to interrupt.
Well, that is pretty interesting. But then you got back to Kansas eventually.
Well, about let's see, what was the name? I forget the name of the little town up there, up by the river. But then my younger sister was going to school up there. But eventually, we got on another truck and we rode into Colorado. I forget if it was Fort Collins. I think it was. Fort Collins. No. What is the name of that? Where Mom's buried. It's a 4-letter word. Town.
You can
Ald, Colorado.
all
AULD, Colorado.
AULD. Ald, Colorado. I've not heard of that. Ald.
Alt. Yeah. Alt. Yeah. AULT. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
we
you're-
had a little cabin just outside there, and
And your mom passed then.
Mom got sick and she passed away.
Oh my goodness. So
And
the
she's buried there in
Okay.
North Colorado. I'm glad you remembered that. Thank God. Yeah. Yeah.
so then all these brothers and sisters and you, what are you going to do?
Yeah, that's when this, what was their name? Lucas and Frank and, what's their last name?
Rojas.
Rojas. Yeah, the Rojas. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, the Rojas family, they took us in. Yeah, they used to, well, when we were young, and Dad was still living here in Salina, the Rojas came through, and they stopped in Salina, and Dad helped them while they were here and make arrangements for them to go to Colorado. So they always appreciated that.
Sure.
They took us in when
Oh, that's
when
great.
all that trouble was going on. Yeah.
Wow.
So Mom is buried in Alt. Bless her heart.
Yes.
So then we went to Fort Collins. Yeah. And that's where this guy that used to haunt your mom, forget his name. What the hell was his name? Anyway, he was nailed to the river. I mean, to a tree.
He would nail?
Well, yeah, with a spear or something. You know.
Oh my goodness.
Well, he'd been bothering his mom with my sister.
Yeah.
She was the oldest of the girls, and he was trying to get to her, you know, and all that. And
Interesting way to court.
and he paid for his crime.
Oh my goodness.
They found him hanging on that tree with a spear in his heart.
Oh no.
Bastard.
Well, I was told that you lived in Abilene for a while. How'd you get to Abilene?
Well, that was shortly after Mom died there in Colorado. She had cancer. Yeah. Yeah, she's buried there. Nice. We put a nice headstone. My oldest brother is buried right beside her. But then we went to live with the Rojas for a while, and they brought us back to Salina. And when we came back to Salina, why, we had an aunt there we stayed with for a while. But she was, his mom, my oldest sister, didn't appreciate the way our aunt was treating us, me and my little brother. So we went to Abilene, Kansas, to an orphanage.
Yeah.
St. Joseph's Age Orphanage.
Yeah.
Which is the best thing could have happened to us. Oh boy.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, we learned so much. God. Met, you know, all the other kids. And we learned farming, every phase of farming, you know, yeah. You know, from planting the fields, reaping the fields, and taking care of 55 Holstein cows. Well, whether it was, you know, we had a lot of boys there at the orphanage. A lot of milkers. Alfred took care of, he would feed the pigs. He'd take care of the chickens. He had trouble with the roosters, too. But he got pretty good at it. He used to gather the eggs and stuff like that. And he would work in the milk house.
Sounds like they kept you guys busy.
Oh, yeah. Well, we had milked, God, I think it was close to 50 cows, over 40, yeah. Holsteins, they held a lot of milk.
Yes.
They had the udders that big, you know.
Yes.
You could just grab them, that milk would just come right out, you know.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we had, I think it was about 10 kids there that did the milking. Put that bucket there, you know, and get those tits right over there and just get that
Get
thing
it going.
going.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I heard that you met Dwight Eisenhower while you were, or you saw Ike.
Oh, well, you used to do work for a lot of the farmers there. Mm-hmm. And there was this farmer that lived clear on south of Abilene, Murphy's. They turned out to be real good friends. In fact, after I left the orphanage, I went to work for him. Even after the war, when I came back, why, he was still, you know, had more fields. And I went to work for him then, you know, out of the alfalfa fields, gathering and taking the stuff in and carrying it up, getting the seeds out of it and all that.
But you saw Ike? You saw Ike one day?
Oh, well, we saw him when I was still in the orphanage. I think it was back in 38 and 39. We used to travel by wagon, horse and wagon. Yeah. We'd have the flat wagons, you know, we'd load hay and stuff on, you know, and we'd have a team of 4 horses. And we pulled it down Buckeye, 15th Street. And, where the Eisenhower Museum is, the house is still there.
Yeah.
But he was sitting close to the Buckeye, the highway there. So we would go by with our wagon while he'd be sitting out there on the porch and we'd wave at him,
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He had his uniform on because he was attached to Fort Riley. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very awesome. So, getting into the service, were you drafted or did you enlist into the service?
Well, at the time, when the war came out, there was, I was working for a guy by the name of Streckfus in Salina. In fact, he was down just at the south end of the Santa Fe, where the highway came around.
Yeah.
Well, there's a road that goes straight west, and about 2 miles out there was Will Streckfus, where I worked for. Then his brother had the other mile. So I worked there until the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Yeah.
Where you were out
That's
working? Do you remember where you were when that happened? When Pearl Harbor got bombed? Do you remember where you were?
Well, that's where I was.
You were working there?
Yeah, they were started build Camp Phillips. You know where that is? That's where the airport is there in Salina.
Okay.
Yeah. They were just building that
Okay,
Camp
gotcha.
Phillips. Yeah.
So after that, we went into war, and you were drafted?
No. Bill and his brother, they had to sell their land because the government wanted it for the airfield and all that.
Yes.
So then I think that's when I went to work for the railroad. Yeah. A bunch of us there in the neighborhood. The railroads are hiring, so I went to work for Bavaria. Is that? I think it's the one west of Salina.
Bavaria?
Yeah.
Area? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we went out there for a while, then clear out there to out by Russell, that little town before that. It's named for a World War, for a Revolutionary War.
Bunker Hill?
Bunker
Bunker
Hill,
Hill?
yeah. Yeah, we had our boxcars there, yeah. Yeah, it had those 2 mills up there, yeah. Just a few houses.
Yep.
And Russell was sitting right up there on the hill. Yeah. Yeah, we worked there for a while. That's when I was on the Union Pacific,
Okay.
But then we traveled on the railroad, different places. We were what they called an extra gang. So wherever they needed help, and at the time, the war was coming on. So
Right.
those trains were the busy, they were busy as devil,
bet.
especially that main road there, going
On
through
40,
there.
yes.
So we were busy there, going all the way clear up to the fort,
But Riley, and then did you enlist?
Huh?
Did you enlist?
Yeah, it was about the time we were out there by Camp Funston. And that the song came out. There's a Star-Spangled Banner waving somewhere. Colin Kelly and all that stuff,
Yeah.
And I thought, damn it, I think I better go in there and help those boys. So I went to Kansas City and I enlisted in the Marine Corps. And we had about, 23 guys there. They put us in not a boxcar, but a regular car. We traveled all the way to California. It took us, I think, about 7 or 8 days to get over there.
Stopping and picking people
Yeah.
up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were picking guys up on the way.
Sure.
Yeah, we ended up down in San Diego. joined a platoon. Mine was 1228. Platoon 1228. That was a high number because, what the heck, guys were enlisting, the war was just starting, and a lot of guys were eager, get in there,
Yes. So that's where you had training in San Diego?
Yeah, San Diego, yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah, we had right down there by the ocean, yeah.
tell me what a regular day was like in training.
Well, I'm not sure if I can describe it, but at first there was a bugle through a big speaker.
Oh.
And when we first got there, we were put out on a parade ground, and there were tents put up, and we were put, I think it was 4 to a tent to begin with. We stayed there for a week, and they were building Quonset huts at the time, so they finished one out, and they made a platoon out of about 48 of us, and they put us in this one Quonset hut.
So the bugle went off and you go out?
What?
When the bugle went off, you went out to...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that went off pretty early in the morning. Yeah, we all went out with our shorts on, Yeah, line up. Boots, boy, that sergeant, he had a time trying to line us up. We'd get out there, we'd just go, But he straightened us out.
I bet.
We sure learned, what attention was and ease was. Yeah. It was a lot of learning. It was 8 weeks of it. Boy. So we came out there pretty well trained. We could march with the best of them. Yeah, and then we were all sent out different places, wherever they needed us. Yeah. They were building up divisions and stuff, and regiments. They started out by little companies,
Where did you go?
I joined a little company out in Camp Pendleton. No, Camp Elliott. And that was a training base at the time. And that was up pretty close to on the way up to Camp Pendleton. It was out on the hills, stuff like that, yeah. But that training was, they teach us, all the infantry training, but the first thing was always, you get into their platoon and you march up to those hills, and then you start the training. Yeah.
A lot of marching.
Yeah, I think we had about 6 weeks of that.
Wow.
Then they put us on the troop ships, and I happened to get lucky. Mine went to Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, and I joined a communication company. I went into the telephone. I don't know if you ever seen on World War II, the ground troops always had this wire little rolls of wire, yeah. Yeah, you call it, I forget, double E4, something like that. Small wire. But you get about a quarter mile in a roll. And we'd use that for keep companies together.
Sure.
Or when we first landed, we'd carry those things with us, We'd set up our tent where we had a little switchboard, and that was the communication with with our companies or battalions and all that, you know.
Yes.
Because radios were in its infancy. They was not very dependable. And they all had these big, what do you call them, aerials? These big things that stuck up in the air, and if the Japanese saw them, they could, locate you, so they depended on wiring quite a bit,
So you would go in, you and your group would go in and put all these wires up before the.
Yeah, connect the companies together, all that, yeah.
Yeah.
It started, then the regiments, your division, he was always out by the beach. He stayed out there. He didn't go in. It was all those poor guys in the companies, and they always carried a couple of guys with their little handsets, and that WE4 wiring. Yeah.
So where did you all go while you were stationed in the South Pacific?
Well, the first trip was to Pearl Harbor. And then from there, we got separated into different squads. And then where they needed us, that's where we went, like on the Marshall Islands. So there was a fast island. But we would put the headquarters at the beach. And then we'd have the guys with their phone, over their shoulder, and carry a reel of wire, hook up to the switchboard. You'd take it as far as you could and connect the phone to it and leave it there for the infantry to pick up. Yeah. So they'd have a phone. Yeah. That's how we got started.
That's wild. And so did those wires get cut or messed up sometimes?
Yeah, and radio, which turned out to be great toward the end of the war.
Yeah.
But when it's infancy, they had so many problems, especially with all those antennas coming up. And if the Japanese spotted that, those guys were gone. They'd throw a mortar shell or something there and get rid of them. So wiring at the time was probably the safest thing, but it wasn't safe for the guys carrying the wire.
Did you have to go up trees or anything to put the wire up?
Well, when it was safe if you had trees. Okay. On Saipan, we had a lot of trees. So when we could, we would climb the trees, but it was better to get those lines hooked up first, later on. Later on, we would take them up there. But first, we had to get them out to the companies and, then back to the switchboards.
You were kind of a sitting duck if you were up in the tree with a wire.
Oh, yeah. It was better than... They had telephone poles at the time, and we had climbers, but it wasn't safe to get on those things. You were in the open.
Yeah.
Yeah, those trees, they gave you a little bit of protection.
So how long were you out in the South Pacific?
Let's see, 43. July, in the summer, July, 43, went to Hawaii, and then there we gathered into a platoon I was in wiring, communication, and they prepared us then for Saipan and Tinian, the invasion of those two islands. Well, Saipan was the worst. Yeah.
I've heard that.
Where the coconut trees were. Boy, there were a lot of coconuts. A lot of Japs playing there with them, too. Yeah.
Do you have any story you want to tell while you were in Saipan? Anything you remember you want to talk about?
Well, the one that I always remember is that what I was telling you, the coconut grove. See, where a battle just taken off, and they going down south to Magazine Bay. Magazine Bay was just across from Tinian. That was the other island that was we were going to invade after we finished with Saipan. But there in that grove of trees, those coconut trees, see all those guys, Japs and Marines laying there, you know. Some were still alive, but they were dying, you know.
Sorry. It's part of war, and it's the bad part. Were you still in the service when the war ended? Were you still in the service when the war ended?
Let's see. Yeah, this is the bomb, wasn't it?
The bombs in
Yeah,
Japan?
the bomb, yeah.
In August?
On Nagasaki, yeah.
Yeah. You were still in the service?
Yeah, we were on Maui, island of Maui.
Oh, that was a good place to be.
Yeah, we were resting. We were back. We just come back from Iwo Jima. Yeah.
So what was it like when everybody heard, oh my gosh, they're going to surrender? What did you, when you heard they were going to surrender Japan?
Yeah.
How did-
Yeah. I was we were in Maui. Yeah.
Was there a
Yeah, our
little-
outfit was there. Oh, we hollered. Yeah, we're glad. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. That was beautiful news. Yeah.
You bet.
Yeah.
What was your rank?
Uh,
What was your rank while you were in the service?
I was a buck sergeant there on Saipan. But then when it came back to Maui and shortly after that,
What's going on?
we had Iwo Jima. That was our last operation. Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like our man.
Yeah, that was in February
Sounds like our man.
1943. Yeah.
What message would you give to young people about World War II?
I don't know. I think the message is already given a long time ago. War is hell, you know, because there's no way to get rid of it. You know, we're always in them somehow or somewhere in the world.
Yes.
People just can't get along, and as long as they can't, we're going to have wars. Yeah.
It's a crazy thing.
Yeah. You know, we try, countries try, you know, they try their best to get along, but there's always these rebels somewhere that. Yeah,
What-
like over there in where all these sheiks and all that people are, you know, the way they're different kind of people, you know, they're always looking for trouble.
They seem to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it always seems to bring us in, you know, like,
We stick our nose in.
especially in Asia. God.
Will, can you tell me what the best part of being in the service? What was the best part of being in the service?
The best of all is camaraderie. You know, they get together with the people. You know, getting together with learning about the country. You know, and loyalty. I think that was probably the biggest thing. Loyalty not only to your country but to each other. You know,
Yes.
you depend on each other.
So you got out, you came back to Kansas when you got out of the service.
Yeah.
Did you use the GI Bill to go to school or learn anything?
Went to plumbing school. Yeah. Over in Kansas City, I became a plumber. Yeah.
Great.
I worked in Salina for John Giles as a plumber. Had my own little truck. Oh, filled in with all the plumbing equipment. Having a good time. Then the Korean War came along, and they said, "Come on, buddy."
You went to the Did you
Oh,
get-
yeah, I still remember about all the trouble his mom was going through when we were kids, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That was a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Well, I have one last question. Is there anything that you would want to, is there a message you want to give to youth? Any kind of message to the young people today?
Well, the old message, yeah. Study hard. Learn all you can. Daggone. Because it's a plus. No matter what, you know. The more you learn, the more you get out of it. And the higher you'll go. You know, if you don't learn nothing, you're going to be digging ditches the rest of your life.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to share today?
No, but don't forget your country. God bless America. Aye.
Yes.
The greatest country in the world, and keep it that way.
Well, thank you.
We are the people that teach the rest of the world how to get around. Yeah. We're the example.
Oh boy.
We are the top dog. Nobody tells us what to do. We tell them.
Well, thank you today for talking with us, and thank you for your service.
Okay.